A man walked into a radio station to report himself missing, but the person he claimed to be had already been dead for 4 days. So this story takes us to 2018 about a man named Adam who was doing this internship in a small town radio station out in Wyoming. Now, this was the kind of place where, half the calls are still about lost dogs or birthday. It was a super quiet gig. That was until one day, a guy walked in the station asking if he could put out a missing person notice. Now, totally normal, right? Except here's where it gets weird. The guy in his mid-30s looked pretty rough, like he hadn't slept in days. He gives Adam a name, Jacob R. Ellis. He said he's been missing for 4 days. He was last seen heading into the woods just outside of town. He said he was a hiker on a solo trip. So Adam writes all this down and asks, "What's your relation to Jacob?" And the guy says, "I am Jacob." Adam kind of laughs like, wait, what? He thinks maybe it's a joke at first, but the man just stares at him, dead serious, and says again, "I am Jacob Ellis, but I'm missing." Now, Adam doesn't know what to do with this. This guy doesn't seem like he's out of it, just confused, like he fully believes what he's saying. So a few hours later, the police show up, and they're asking questions, not about the guy who came in, but about the name Jacob Ellis. I guess it turned out that Jacob had gone missing 4 days earlier. His car was still parked at the trailhead. They'd already done a first sweep of the area, but there was no sign of him. His picture had been posted online. Local news ran a short bit. But here's the real scary part. The man who came in the station didn't look anything like the missing guy. Not the same height, not the same face, nothing. But he knew things only the real Jacob would know. Names of family members, the exact trail he hiked, stuff like that. So Adam later told the cops everything. He even showed them the notepad where he wrote down the name, Jacob R. Ellis, missing in all capitals. But the footage from the station's cameras, it's like the guy never showed up on him. There's a full gap in the feed, like 90 minutes of corrupted footage. The cameras just strangely glitch out. The station manager told Adam never to talk about it again. Said it must have been a prank or he was confused. But Adam swears to this day, he talked to someone who was missing. Someone somehow already knew he was gone. And here's where it gets even darker. Jacob Ellis's body was found a week later, deep in the forest. And based on records, he'd been dead for 5 days. Remember, the guy came into the station 4 days after he died. Let me know what you think in the comments below. 2 students went looking for a legend in the Appalachian Mountains, but were never seen again. So this story takes place deep in the mountains. It's one of the creepiest, most believable vanishings I've ever come across. So in 2019, there was these 2 anthropology grad students from Virginia Tech, Dana and Evan. They had headed out into this super remote part of the mountains. They were chasing these weird old legends, stories from Appalachian families passed down about sky people and glowing things in the woods. These weren't just stories and legends. They actually found fragments of journals going back hundreds of years, all describing the same thing. Lights in the trees, humming sounds, and visitors that came down from outer space. So Dana and Evan go out there to investigate, just the 2 of them. And so they hike out to this ridge that locals apparently avoid, like seriously avoid. Even seasoned hunters won't go out near this area. But 2 days in, Dana sends her sister a text. It's a photo of these strange stone carvings, and they don't match any known native symbols from the region. She writes to her sister, quote, "This isn't tribal. This is something older than I've seen," end quote. But that was the last time anybody heard from her. They didn't check in. They didn't call. So search and rescue teams go out there and they find their camp completely untouched. But maybe the creepiest part? Just outside their camp is a perfect circle of scorched earth, like something hit the ground. but there's no sign of a fire, no lightning, just blackened dirt. One hunter came forward anonymously and said there was a white oval of light hovering above the ridge that same night. Then it just blinked out. And after that, no updates, no press release, just silence. But here's where it starts to get even stranger. So in 2021, someone files a Freedom of Information request. And what comes back? Redacted documents. But you can still read pieces. They mention things like magnetic disruptions and audio distortions caught on trail cams in that exact same region. The footage, still locked away. Then in 2023, a drone doing canopy scans over that same mountain issued loss of signal for 5 minutes. But then it cut out, and then it captured something. A spiral, a perfect spiral, carved right into the forest trees. Not a crop circle, not a trail, just trees bent into a symbol. Dana and Evan were never found. No tracks, no gear, nothing. So what do you think happened? Let me know in the comments below. So this is one of the creepiest disappearances I've ever come across. It involves a solo hiker named Evan Brooks. He was an experienced outdoorsman. I mean, he was really into documenting his hikes with his GPS tracker. You know the type. They're always sharing their adventures with friends and family, posting cool geocaches, that type of stuff. So Evan plans this weekend trek alone in the Cascade Mountains in Washington. This was nothing unusual, just a quiet getaway. So his friends and family know where he's heading, and they expect to hear from him on a regular basis. Day one goes smoothly. His GPS updates are normal. There's no issues. Day two, it's the same deal. But then sometime in the late afternoon, something strange happens. His GPS suddenly stops sending updates. Like mid-hike. No warning, just nothing. His friends and family start to worry when he doesn't check in later that night. Search and rescue is called in shortly after. But when they get to his last known location, that's when things start to get really bizarre. The GPS data shows his position, not on the trail, not on the ground, but literally in the air, 95 feet up, almost 10 stories high. There's no cliff or ledge that's high around there. There's no natural way he could have gotten up there, especially so suddenly. The search and rescue teams comb the area for more days using drones and imaging cameras, everything you can imagine. There's no footprints, no broken branches, just nothing. Then they find his backpack hanging 30 feet up in a tree. The straps aren't cut, torn, nothing. It looks like somebody just put it up there. The GPS heart rate data shows his pulse was spiking wildly, then just flatlining about 7 seconds after the altitude jump. It's like he was lifted straight into the air and then the signal just stopped. Locals in the area tell of a strange story about a hunter who disappeared in that same region back in the 80s. His radio was still transmitting when rescuers found his last ping, and it was coming from the treetops, again, way above the ground. The official explanation on Evan's case? Unknown environmental factors. Basically, no one knows what happened. But here's the kicker. When someone mapped Evan's final GPS coordinates, they discovered the points form a perfect circle, like some kind of strange symbol etched into the forest. So, what do you think? Did something or someone physically take Evan off the ground? Was it some bizarre environmental phenomenon? Or something else entirely? Because at the end of the day, Evan Brooks just vanished, leaving behind a book bag in a tree, a dead GPS signal hanging high above the forest floor, and a mystery that no one can explain. Let me know what you think in the comments below.